All right, welcome. Today, we're jumping into a really powerful and honestly a pretty revolutionary idea about how we approach the whole second half of our lives. It's a concept called Joyspan, and I have a feeling it might just change the way you think about getting older.
So let me just ask you this right out of the gate. Is aging really just about decline? Because for so long, our culture has basically painted this picture of getting older as a time of loss, of kind of fading away. But what if that whole story is just plain wrong?
Okay, here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by really challenging that old, tired view of aging. Then we'll get into what Joyspan actually is. From there, we'll take a balanced look at it, talk about the common mistakes that can trip us up, and then wrap it all up with a concrete action plan you can actually use.
So first things first, let's tackle the old view of aging. We need to challenge this narrative of decline. I'm talking about all those stories we're told, the ideas we just absorb, often without even realizing it. The ones that frame aging as something to be scared of, instead of something to embrace.
Think about it for a second. These are the narratives that basically treat getting older as a problem. This idea that it's just this inevitable slide downwards, a time of loss where you're always focused on what you can't do anymore. And that mindset, it leads to lower expectations, this feeling of becoming invisible. It's a whole framework built on limits, not on potential.
Okay, but this is where it starts to get really exciting. Let's flip this script and look at the alternative. What is Joyspan? This is the central idea from Dr. Kerry Burnight's work, and it offers a totally new paradigm for the second half of life.
So what is it exactly? Well, Joyspan is defined as the enduring, qualitative experience of joy over time. So it's not about pretending life is perfect or that problems disappear. Not at all. It's about actively building and sustaining a state of contentment, of connection, of purpose. It's really all about the quality of our years.
And the big emphasis here is on our internal capacities. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about sharpening the things that can actually get better with age. Like our judgment, our resilience, our empathy. The goal is to stay visible to yourself. I mean, what a powerful way to put it.
And look, this isn't just some feel-good philosophy. The Joyspan approach is actually grounded in real science, from gerontology, from neuroscience, but it also does this beautiful thing where it weaves in the lived wisdom of elders. And it gives you practical real-world strategies for the challenges people actually face as they get older.
But, no idea is totally perfect. To get the whole picture, we need to look at it from all sides. So let's take a balanced look at both the incredible strengths of the Joyspan concept and some of the potential gaps.
So on the one hand, its biggest strength is just how it completely reframes aging as a chance to grow. And it does it by mixing science with stories and tools you can actually use. But the critique is also really important to hear. It points out that the book relies more on personal stories than on big, broad data sets. And because it focuses so much on what we can do as individuals, it can maybe dig a little deeper into the big systemic barriers, things like societal ageism or economic challenges that definitely affect how well a person can thrive. It's a really fair point to keep in mind.
Okay, let's get super practical now. Let's talk about the mistakes we all tend to make. Because the Joyspan framework points out several of these mental traps that literally get in our own way and stop us from building a life that's rich in meaning as we get older.
You can see the big ones laid out right here. So when we treat aging as just decline, what happens? We get resignation. When we pull back from our friends and community, that's what they call defensive isolation. It leads straight to loneliness. You see it all the time, right? Someone stops going to their weekly get-together because they feel a little slower, and that's the very thing that creates the isolation they were worried about. And oh man, constantly comparing ourselves to who we were at 25, that's just a recipe for frustration. For every one of these traps, Joyspan has a fix. Reframe it as growth, actively pursue connection, and learn to measure your progress on your own terms.
And this brings us to what I think is the most powerful part, your Joyspan action plan. This isn't just theory anymore. This is a concrete 7-step plan you can use to start building your own Joyspan, like starting today.
So the first phase is really all about laying the foundation. It starts with just taking stock, getting a baseline of where you are right now. Then you get real with yourself and identify your personal barriers, those joy stealers in your life. And finally, you start to actively cultivate a couple of those core inner strengths, like patience, through small, daily exercises.
From there, you move into action. This is where you start building those meaningful connections. And I absolutely love this next part, the idea of joy memory. It's so simple. After you have a positive experience, you just consciously pause for a moment to reflect on it. And this creates what the book calls a joy residue, which helps that good feeling actually stick around longer. How great is that?
And these final steps are all about making this sustainable, for the long haul. You monitor and adjust. You check in every quarter or so and ask, hey, what's working here and what's draining me? And then, eventually, you share this whole concept with other people. Because creating a Joyspan community doesn't just help them, it reinforces your own practice and your own growth too.
So, when you pull it all together, the takeaway is crystal clear. Joyspan is a guide to aging more deeply, not just longer. It's an approach that's anchored in science and aimed straight at purpose, and it completely shifts the focus from the quantity of our years to the profound quality and meaning that we can find inside them.
So I'm going to leave you with this question to chew on. Forget about the giant 7-step plan for just a minute. What is one small, simple step you can take today to start building your own Joyspan?